know that this might be a little too much for you, you can literally say, okay, I have 5 minutes that I want to try this. Another thing though, and this might be a little techie for some people who may not have this, but like the Apple Watch has a breathing app. It's not even an app. It's like a breathing, I don't know, notification. It's like built into the Apple Watch. But you could set the Apple Watch to remind you to take deep breaths throughout the day. And it really is helpful. Yeah. And I was just about to say like exactly what you were saying about being in a cab and you only have 10 minutes and you put something on. The breath really does inform our body on like how we should be feeling. So like if you ever notice when you're excited, your breath might be a little shorter. If you're mad, it might be really short. If you're relaxed, your breath is longer. So your breath really is connected to a lot of your emotions. And so having a reminder to just breathe, take deep breaths, that will instantly make you feel more calmer. And that is a form of meditation. So
it seems so simple, like breathe. Oh, we breathe on our own. But really, I think, particularly with wearing the masks, I find that I have to, I know it's silly, but remind myself to breathe. Like sometimes walking around with the mask on in the city, I'm like, ooh, why am I short of breath? Why am I whatever? But I think sometimes because I'm not used to having something covering my nose and mouth, that I almost am like holding my breath, or just the anxiousness of like not kind of just all of everything that's going on, anxiousness of that, right? Like I find if I'm wearing the mask and I'm talking, of course I'm breathing. And that's better. But like, if I'm not talking, if I'm like just headed outside, like I find that I do need to make a conscious effort to be like, breathe, take a deep breath. You know, it seems so simple, but it's so necessary. Wanted to also ask you, well, we kind of touched on this one, but I was going to ask, can you meditate anywhere? Or do you need a particular setting? But I think, I mean, I'll let you go, but we gotta talk. You can do it anywhere.
You can do it anywhere. Honestly, I know, especially for me at airports, I hate airports, and I feel like I feel like I have to like take some breaths because there's just so much happening. So yeah, I like to breathe in the airport, on the airplane, like in the car. It really is, and it really goes back to like what you were saying, and what I will remind like beginners to do is that there's a technique that's super simple. Anyone can do it anywhere. And it's just like, take a deep breath for 3 or 4 counts, hold it for 3 or 4 counts, and then release for 3 or 4 counts. And if you do that 3 or 4 times, you will feel the difference in your body. You'll feel a little clearer in your mind, and you can literally do that anywhere.
And it seems so easy, but sometimes that's very hard to do. I find it hard. Like sometimes, again, on the meditation apps, they are asking you before bed, like, take 3 deep breaths in. And you're like, oh God, do I have to? I just want to go to sleep, you know? But no, I mean, it is really that part of relaxing and clearing the mind. And I think sometimes it is hard for us just to remember to breathe. So simple, you know? In this sort of unprecedented year of 2020, I don't like saying 2020 is canceled or 2020 is bad. I think it's just different, right? It's not, I think we all came into it with something different in mind. Everybody was 2020 vision. Everybody said their goals were going to happen, and there are other things that are happening. Why do you think that meditation is so important during this time?
I think there's so many layers in why 2020 in particular is a really different year. And I think honestly, the silver lining that we were kind of talking about in the beginning is that it does put a magnifying glass or like a light on a lot of things that we haven't been really equipped to deal with. One of those things is spending so much time with ourselves, with our partners, with our family, in the house, you know, and I think that brought up a lot of emotions and anxiety for a lot of people. So meditation really does help with balancing those emotions, really calming your body, your mind, so that you're not feeling so anxious, and also putting you into the present day. Like, one thing we all probably learned is that we are not in control of anything.
Anything, right?
Nothing. So, you know, what meditation is beautiful at doing is kind of reminding you that what you are in control of is your breath, your body, your feelings, your choices. And I think that is a way to help you through this uncertainty.
Yeah. And even going a little bit deeper, because the Sanctuaire platform is for people of color, or we speak specifically to, you know, the wellness needs of people of color. Why do you find, or do you find, that meditation is particularly important for people of color?
Whew, girl, we need it. We need it for so many reasons. I think that, you know, we as a people have been, you know, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot, not just in this generation, but generations prior. And sometimes that, you know, that heaviness weighs on us even today. And so on top of that, you know, we also have a world that we're living in that doesn't necessarily give us the tools or the feelings or the support that we need. So I think that for Black people in particular, we definitely have to do way more in terms of self-care and taking care of ourselves, taking care of our emotions, checking in with ourselves, but also checking in with each other. So meditation gives you those tools to be able to kind of comfort and self-soothe and, like, you know, just be here for ourselves and each other, for sure.
And I think it's so important because, like you said, there is that sort of ancestral trauma that, to me, that's even a new term. Like, people, I've been hearing it over the last year, but I think, I mean, yes, we've known that there was ancestral sort of trauma, but it really wasn't being spoken about until now. And people are really thinking about not just what's happening to us in this present life, but what has come down, what has maybe come through your DNA, you know, and things of dealing with it. I think, you know, if we were to look at like our parents' generation, I don't know. I mean, I think there were some people that were into meditation, but not everybody, you know. I mean, it wasn't talked about the way that it is now. And I really love that it's being sort of destigmatized, that like people are really thinking about these things and it's not something weird or woo-woo to be in touch with how you're feeling, to meditate, to breathe. It doesn't take the place of, it doesn't replace praying. It's something different in my mind. I mean, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I mean, you know, you can still have a very active prayer life, you know, and then as well meditate in terms of connecting, you know, with yourself. So
no, I was about to say, like, as you were saying that, is that I do think that religion played a role in the reason why we didn't embrace meditation sooner. So I'm happy that now people are understanding that it has nothing to do with the religion. It doesn't have anything, you know, to do with your personal, I guess, spiritual beliefs. It's more about how do you, you know, I like to tell people, you know, just like we brush our teeth every day, you know, meditation is like brushing your teeth for your mind. It's clearing out some negative energies, some, you know, toxins, and it's really allowing you to start fresh. So yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I think that's important. One of your mottos I, again, saw on your website is love yourself first. Or I guess one of the mottos for your brand. Why do you think that that's important? In particular this time? But just in general.
I think, you know, we, especially as Black women, have a hard time putting our needs sometimes in front of maybe our children or our husbands or boyfriends or work or whatever it may be. And so I like to remind people that we can't really put our all in anything else if we don't first put our all in ourselves. give ourselves the time that we need before you allow other people to take that time away. And it's really just about filling up your cup, making sure your cup is full every day so that you have more than enough to share. But yeah, I adopted it because I felt like at one point in time, I wasn't putting myself first. I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't thinking about what I needed in order to feel confident, in order to feel, loved and supported and grounded. Like, I wasn't doing that. So I wanted to make sure that I carved out that time for myself and then teach other women how to do the same thing.
Yeah, I love that. And that's part of the reason that we even started the As Self Care part of the blog and also the live portion of it. But with that, I'd love to know, like, what are some of your other self-care practices? Like, what do you do for Samora? What are your things?
I have to take, it's funny because I was just talking to my boyfriend about this. I like to take time for myself, and everyone is not like this, but like I do solo trips. I do staycations by myself. I like to just really unplug and reconnect with me. So that's something that I do teach in smaller chunks, but I also practice in larger amounts of time as well. I like to, let me think, I feel like journaling is really healthy for me. So I try to make sure I do that.
That's one I haven't been able to get into.
Really?
No, I know a lot of people find it very good, but I just haven't. I don't know.
Everyone is different, everyone's self-care looks different, and I try to.
Do you do it every day, or how?
I used to do it every day. Now I find myself doing it like once a week, twice a week. Yeah. So it just depends on what's happening.
What do you journal about? Like, what are some of the things that you? Is it just about your day, or are you like things that you're frustrated about, things that you're grateful for, or?
Yeah. So, that's another thing. I'm glad you pointed that out. I have an app that every day I list 3 or 4 things that I'm grateful for. Yeah. And that's part of my self-care, because I think it's so easy for us to be like, this isn't working. Why I don't have that? Comparing yourself to others. It's so easy to fall into that trap. But like when you go into gratitude and just say, I'm thankful for these 3 things every single day, it gives you that sense of joy, that peace, that comfort. So that's a good way to practice self-care. And then journaling, I do gratitudes, but mainly it's more about like whatever is, I like to free write, which means that I don't think too deep about it. I just allow myself to flow. And so it's like whatever comes out just comes out. But a lot of it has to do with like things either I want to accomplish or things that have been on my mind, like stressors, or just personal things, or if it's like a big event that happened, or like when I went on my first date with my boyfriend, I write about him or something like that. So,
that's super cool. Now with I used to teach Pilates, and do you find that yoga for you, since you are an instructor, is that still self-care for you, or does it become like work?
No, well, it's so funny. It's really interesting because it is a little bit of both. So
it's a balance, right?
It's a balance, and I wasn't always a full-time yoga instructor. This is actually my first time being like a full-time in my business, but I was teaching part-time for a while. So for me, it was like, oh my God, I just had this long day, and now I have to go and teach this class. But what's funny is that every single time, like I would complain, or I'll be like, oh, I don't feel like it. But then every single time I taught, it felt so rewarding, and it felt so right, and it felt so good. And I was so grateful to have it. So
that's kind of the same with me. I mean, I haven't taught for a few years, but when I was teaching, I was working in corporate, same thing. And I was, in my mind, I'm like, I got to get my playlist right. I was working for this Pilates studio where you had to put the movements to music. And that for me was always like a little bit stressful. It's got to be on the beat, so then you get there, same thing. And it's like you rush. But just to experience that with your students, I think is is amazing. But yeah, there was that sort of leading up to it. It is work until you get there. But then I also found that my private practice time too was also a little bit more of the time where it really was self-care, like even maybe just preparing for the class or whatever, like, you know, days prior. So I totally get that. Well, I don't want to hold you too much longer, but I did want to ask, in case our Sanctuaire viewers want to find you, where can they find you on the internet and, you know, in the social world, because we're all connecting virtually. And then tell us a little bit about, you know, what you offer, if they can hire you for different services and everything like that.
For sure. So my website is samoralife.com.
Okay.
SAM as a man, ORALIFE. And then that's also my handles on everything. So at Samora Life on all platforms.
Good. You kept it easy for us.
Yes. Like I'm so like, if people start adding extra stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I can't find you.
So keep it simple. And then I have a couple of things happening right now. I have a digital course called Love Yourself First. So it's all about helping people, especially if you're new to self-care or meditation or whatever it is that you are still kind of going through in terms of personal development. It's really good for zoning in on a particular part of your life and really giving yourself that extra time, that care, that push. So it's really about getting more focused, more confident, and more clear. So that one is on my website. You can find it there. I also have motivational yoga classes that I'm going to, right now I work with a lot of different organizations and I teach through organizations, but I'm starting to do my own classes on my own kind of platform. So
and we definitely got to get you for one of those for Sanctuaire. We got to do a video. Love that.
That would be so cool. So everything is on my website. You can totally find.
Okay. And like I mentioned before, we definitely are going to bring you back to talk about morning routine. I know you have a whole sort of formula on setting the day right. And I think that's so important for so many of us. So we're going to bring you back. We're going to talk about that. But I just thank you so much for taking out the time today. I'm glad we could connect like this because we chatted on the phone before, but I'm glad we could connect sort of face-to-face. 2020 face-to-face.
Exactly. No, it's a pleasure. I love what you're building. I love, the mission. Everything that you're doing is beautiful. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we will chat soon and have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.